Hello guys, Sendo here again. Today, as the title might reveal, we're gonna talk a bit about main power-up, and especially this magic number that's 99.9 damage. And this is something that's been around since Splatoon 1, and it's very much a thing in this game as well, since they released main power-up. So right here, we just have the main power-up page on Splatoon wiki, and this is a pretty good research at just checking like the different effects main power-up can have at different weapons. But the main reason why I showed this is that there's a lot of weapons where main power-up effectives actually damage. So as you can see, there's like a wide variety of weapons where you can actually increase their damage. And only for a few in the preferred kit, you see like a lot of stacking of main power-up. But you can do it on a lot of weapons, so that's always like a nice kind of like a background for this thing. But I think how most people notice ability has to be the Kensa Pro build, where he's stacking a lot of main power up. So I'm not stacking quite all the way, but this is kind of like the number that you're gonna wanna be targeting. Since when you have this number, 2 shots, you deal 99.8 damage. And even if I stack more, it's not gonna be dealing more damage than that, so that's the limit of it. Because the game makers don't want you to be like two-shotting people that are not damaged at all. And that's an important bridge to what I'm kind of like my whole main point here is that indeed they have to be damaged. So normally it's talking about getting the shoe shot by stacking the main power up. And yeah, quite often you do shoe shot people because if they're engaged in any kind of firefight, most likely they're gonna be at least weak enough to, you know, die to 99.8 more damage. But it's still assuming that they are in a firefight. So if I'm just like randomly meet like an enemy, like I'm sharking and an enemy is coming from a base and I shoot them twice, most likely they're not gonna die, right? Because they have no reason to be like swimming in our ink or something. And if I'm alone, then there's none of my teammates are actually dealing damage on them. So that's like a very important thing to keep in mind, that it's always about making it very easy to combo with other weapons. So whatever, our aerospray is like, well, we deal aerospray amount of damage on the guy, and then I come up with Kensa Pro and I select, and this is always as smooth as ever. And trying to find a weapon you want. Maybe honestly they need to redo this whole interview phase, but yeah, well, whatever. Then I come with my Kensa Pro, and that would probably kill already. But think about if the aerosprays just miss all the shots. Actually, it's a blues player this time. They miss all the shots that they just like do this, like they paint all over their feet, and now they are taking ink damage. So say they took like 1 damage here, and a Kensa Pro player comes here and boom, and the enemy dies because they only do the 1 damage. But we still need that blues player shooting around their feet. If this blues player does not exist, then they're not gonna die. And assuming we have a bit better blues player, they're actually shooting at the enemy, and wow, that's a lot of damage all of a sudden. So maybe in this situation, the main power-up doesn't actually help us. But again, you know, we kind of like credit the main power-up still, since we're stacking it all the way, so makes sense to kind of have this mentality that every time we choose something, well, the main power-up has to be hugely impactful. And yeah, it's not only about Kensa Pro, like we have weapons such as I kind of want to show the bamboo first, because this is kind of like the infamous Bamboozler when people are facing Bamboozler in solo and the Bamboozler are dealing 99.9 damage, and it's frustrating to play against, I get that, but again, it's assuming that you are still damaged from something else, so you are still engaged in a team fight. That's pretty much the whole like basis of what I'm trying to say here. And yeah, like we saw the list, like there's a variety of weapons, like Splash Show as well, like normally a 4-shot kill, could technically be a 3-shot kill, but not quite. So yeah, like what's up with this? Like, is this broken or something? Like, we can make Kensa Pro kill in 2 shots, basically. I think it's not that simple, because when you think about this, all these weapons, like I showed you, all the weapons that can actually increase their damage, we only really have one popular one, whose kit is to stack all the way main power up. Like, some other weapons are popular, you maybe stack a bit of main power up, not like this, like only on Kensa Pro. And also Pro was absolutely horrible weapon for 3 years straight. Like, this weapon was mind-blowingly bad. In Splatoon 1, Splatoon 2, people were saying like Pro can never be good. But this is the first time Pro has ever been like considered like a top tier weapon. But I think a lot of it is just comes down to it's popular. Why it's popular? Well, yeah, it's strong, but also like it's Kensa Pro. Like, it's not like incredibly hard to play or something, because a lot of the game style is just like staying back and, you know, pre-firing on the enemy front line's general direction, and then they run to your shots and then you get a kill. Like, wow, that's incredible. Like, most people can't do this much. So you can see a lot of Kensa Pros, and you're gonna die a lot to Kensa Pros, and you're like, well, Kensa Pro is broken because I'm dying a lot to it. Like, I don't think human brain quite often makes a distinction between, oh, Kensa Pro is actually popular, so okay, well, I'm not dying to, say, I don't even know, like, what's hugely unpopular weapon, like, say, Skeezer or Flingsa. I'm not dying to Flingsa as often, like, this is balanced. I'm dying a lot to Kensa Pro, so Kensa Pro is obviously broken. But you're not really, like, taking into account how much more popular Kensa Pro is. And it's kind of like this weird chicken and egg thing at the same time. But yeah, I think, like, main power-up itself has gotten a lot of, like, bad rap because of this. I think the big reason, like, I don't think anyone's saying that Kensa Pro, like, main power-up is annoying in this game because you can make, like Splatoon Junior pain more. Like, I don't think that's really it. Like, most people are saying main power-up is bad for this game because you can indeed, like, increase the damage of weapons. For example, doing this sort of, like, 2-shot kill combos. But I think my main point with this video is that main power-up was hugely healthy for the game. Like, think about it. Like, how many weapons we had where the build was literally just spamming your sub-weapon or your special weapon. Like, this is when I think the game has gone, like, they have done something wrong if you're not encouraged to use your main weapon at all. And, like, there's several examples I could bring here, but, like, well, do you remember this weapon? Like, I don't remember using my main weapon, like, pretty much at all with this weapon. And you go back, you see, like, Aerospray, Spoiler spam, like, a lot of weapons where you were, like, spamming either your sub or your special, and main weapon just wasn't really the main thing at all. Like, that's the thing to me, like, sub-weapon, special weapon, these are supposed to be weapons, these are supposed to be complementing your main weapon, not that your main weapon is complementing your sub-weapon or something, which is the case, like, with Kensa Undercover, or, like, even, like, Spider Shot, going back a few patches, you were playing Spider Shot with, like, huge, like, burst bomb focused build. So that's, like, the main thing why I think main power-up was a good addition to the game, because it's encouraging you to use your main weapon. Like, that's what the whole game is supposed to be about. And yeah, we might have Kensa Pro stacking all the way main power up, but that at least makes you use your main weapon, right? Like, it's not like you're staying back and spamming your Splat Bomb or Booyah Bomb. Like, you're using your main weapon, and I think that's like what people were calling out for, and now this is what we have. I think this is one of the most, like, main power or main weapon focused metas or states this game has ever been in. And I think that's what I enjoy about it as well. And I think stuff like Kensa Pro, well, like, my official prediction is that, like, for real, like, yeah, this weapon is... it's just super simple to pick up, like, that's the biggest reason about it. Like, okay, if Kensa Pro is becoming more popular, and I said this in another video, but it needs to be repeated because this is so much true. If Kensa Pro is getting hugely popular, like, too much popular, then it's not like it doesn't have counters. Like, you can always pick up, like, say, Brellas and do a lot of damage with Brellas, and this is, like, weapon class that's, like, basically focused around countering shooters. So if you have Kensa Pros everywhere, then we're gonna have more Brellas, and it's not gonna be as viable. And I think even if they don't release patches, then it will be taken care of. Like, there's still counters to Kensa Pro. It's not like something magical that can never be countered or anything else. And this whole, like, 99.9 damage, like, it's nothing special. Like, think about it, it's just a fun weapon. Like, there's nothing, like, special about that number. Or we would see, like, Sploosius running all main power up, but we don't. We really don't. But yeah. I don't know, like, I'm still hoping for a patch, of course, because I don't think any build for Kensa Pro should, or any build for any weapon should be about just stacking one ability. I think that's not really healthy. Like, you can always have some gimmicky builds, but this is basically the main build of Kensa Pro. If you're not running this, then, well, you're throwing. So I would probably want to see some kind of like middle ground with this, where it's still usable, but maybe it doesn't make sense to stack all the way main power up. So hopefully that would be something still to come, but in the meanwhile, like, I don't think this is really a problem, guys. At least that's how I see it. But yeah, let me know what you think, and yeah, see you guys next time. Hope you liked the video.